Welcome back to week 5. It's Saturday and it's time to continue with the SPL. We're going to be sat here for the whole day bringing you some action from Europe as well as some console league action to follow. Beginning the day off, we will see Paradigm versus Hungry for More.
Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the standings, and at the top right now, still Panthera at 11-1, and this is kind of a statement, I think, for both teams. Both Paradigm wanting to kind of separate themselves from the rest of the pack, and Hungry for More trying to prove that they're a legitimate contender in Europe.
And both these really want the 2-0 here, because finding that before the end of week 5, very important to go into the second half of the split after the bye-week break we're going to have. So, thoughts from you? Where do you think this is going to go?
I'm leaning towards Paradigm 2-0. I just have to at this point. You know, Hungry for More obviously coming up with 2 big wins recently. However, they were against Fnatic. And now if you said that in week 1, I'd be like, Hungry for More are a real team.
Yeah.
But at week 4, week 5, that's not the case. Fnatic clearly struggling, sitting at the bottom of the leaderboards, the first team in Europe to find double-digit losses. And so there's a little bit of taintedness kind of on that. And Fnatic were also subbing in at the time as well. So Hungry for More, I think they have a lot to prove, but we have seen that they can compete.
Last performance was very, very good from Hungry for More, and honestly, if they can just continue grinding forwards here, I expect them to creep themselves out of the bottom 2 of the relegation battles, which will end up going on towards the end of the split as well. Let's head into picks and bans then, and we'll see exactly how this one's going to play out, because at the moment, Hungry for More, going to be first pick, first ban here. They will have the option, and one thing I definitely want to mention is Vulcan for PrettyPriMe.
And if that's banned away, I wouldn't be surprised. Hungry for More, though, they're going to take out Bacchus.
That's a big, not really a big surprise in Europe, especially.
You know, it's not a big surprise, but I feel surprised a little bit because we haven't really seen that many dominant. I mean, Repicos more than Repicos.
QvoFred was like 907, and it was less than 20 minutes.
Still, I feel like teams, I don't know if they're scrimming against Bacchus a lot or just banning it away, but we've only seen 2 performances that have really showcased how powerful Bacchus can be. But we'll see if Paradigm want to elect to take away that Vulcan. No. So Hungry for More, they have the option to first pick Naja here, which a lot of European teams would right now.
Khepri available as well on the table for either team to look at drafting. Khepri starting to decline in terms of being banned at the moment as well. Where will we see Hungry for More go to? Because I know Khepri would be looked at by Paradigm. They ran that last time round, which I was surprised at, but it seemed to work out.
And Naja was first picked by Hungry for More, so looking for that kind of wombo combo setup that a lot of these European teams have been looking for.
And I
Paradigm, though, like you said. Paradigm, like you said, though. Khepri, and this is a Trixtank god where I don't feel he's best on, right? Obviously, Trixtank in all of Paradigm, their identity is they have 3 players that dive the back line, and Funballer and Lawbster, it's like peel for yourself. But Khepri's not really like that.
No, and I think that maybe this is the transition we're seeing coming out from Paradigm now. They're looking to try and branch out and be a little bit more fluctuating in terms of their picks and bans, and like maybe second-guess the opposition and make them a bit unusual to see Trixtank play something so supportive. I mean, Geb, to be fair, was his strongest support Guardian. Geb can be played aggressively. We all know that. The blink initiations are very, very strong on a Geb, and then you can peel afterwards for your team as well. But even then, you can go aggressive. Bacchus locked in for Hungry for More. I would be surprised to see Vulcan, Ra, or Scylla as 3 of the options you could see in the mid lane.
I think Vulcan would definitely just be a comfort combo that Hungry for More have, but Scylla might be the better god overall. One thing to note here, too, is that Bacchus, even if you don't go on the main target you're looking for, what you can do instead is actually look to knock up the Khepri so he can't hit that revive right before the Vulcan ult comes crashing down.
There's 3 ways actually to knock up Khepri, or at least take him out of combat so he can't get that off. Nija could ult him technically, Bacchus could belly flop him, Vulcan with the meatball as well. Knock up every single time and try and stop Khepri from being an influential factor, as well as Chronos, can't rewind.
Chronos here going to be kind of a flex right now. Could go Funballer, could go Lawbster. We've seen both of these players play them. And with the Xbalanque lock-in, you have to imagine Chronos is going to go the way of Lawbster. And Xbalanque, we saw nothing of him for the first 4 weeks of play. Zapman brings him out. He plays him twice pretty well. And then I believe there was another player who played him recently as well. And now the 4th time we've seen him picked up in the SPL.
I'm actually going to give full credit to this to our teammate for the charity event next week, Air Cougar, because he was running it over the console scene. That's where Zapman got the idea from. He even admitted it. And then from there, he's now entering the pro scene. So even the console leagues influencing the pro league right now on the PC. Tier banned, Vamana banned. Good respect over to Variety there from Paradigm banning away that tier.
Variety versus Game Hunter here. Going to be interesting.
No, not Game Hunter. Come on.
Or excuse me, Xaliea.
That's right.
I don't know why I said Game. I said Game Hunter because I saw the Vamana.
You know,
the Pinnacle at the launch tournament. It's still ingrained in my head that Game Hunter equals Vamana sometimes. And we're going to continue with another target ban, taking away Ho Yi there. And Chalk, no Chalk for Xaliea.
I'm okay with the Chalk ban because Chalk in this situation is actually pretty good for Paradigm. That AoE 3-second silence when you've got a Ninja, Vulcan, Bacchus looking for a combination of skills on a single target, you annihilate that factor. Thor for QvoFred in the jungle, not going to be a big shock to see that one there. Back to Hungry for More. Where will we see Variety go this game?
And Variety had a really good performance against Fnatic specifically. Now, it was against Mr. Crunchy, but...
It was Tyr versus Amaterasu first of all, and then it was Mr. Crunchy who was a substitute as well. He had a good game. He rotated a lot for the team as well, but it's going to be Rama for Ataraxia here, and final pick waiting to become through. Wonder where he's going to go. He could go for... I want to see some front line. Obviously, he's going to need to play some sort of Warrior Guardian here just to firm things up a little bit, because you can't rely on Ninja and Bacchus alone.
Honestly, you could see him go Sun Wukong if you really want to have the true disrupt in the multiple knockups for Hungry for More. Obviously, Amaterasu
wouldn't be a bad choice
here as well.
Bellona,
I forgot Bellona's available. We rarely see her like.
For me, it was Bellona,
drop down
Bellona or Osiris. I could see him ended up going to. It's back to Paradigm then. And where will we see our boy Xaliea go? Because you never know. You could call out 1,000 different gods, even though there's not 1,000 in the game, and he would probably pick one of those.
Honestly, Osiris.
Nemesis. Here we go.
Honestly, Osiris is pretty good here for multiple reasons, right? Najah doesn't really have a quick thing to get away from the tether. She has to ult or sash, and that sash has to connect. Bacchus does have his leap, obviously, but Vulcan, backfire, that actually doesn't get you away enough, but it's Paradigm, so they're going to go with Cabrakan.
Not surprised to see the Cabrakan come out. Cabrakan's matchup against Bellona isn't too bad in terms of wave clear early on. Can be disarmed, though, when you're trying to charge them down and look for that stun, however, which can be a bit influential in that. But early on, we got aggression. Not going to see a kill, though. Zindurn off point with that flop.
They were able to get abducted out of Trixtank, though, so the camps will not be cleared as fast as Paradigm wanted, so a small win, but a win nonetheless for them.
And I'm looking at Zindurn right now, and Zindurn this season, for me, he's not been playing too bad on the aggressive gods. He's a very aggressive support player, very similar to Trixtank-esque of the old days, but Trix now trying to transition to this more supportive option as well. But Zindurn, Guan Yu's, the Bacchuses, always going deep, going aggressive, trying to set things up for the team. Yes, he may be a sacrificial lamb for the team by doing that, but he does allow the team to perform good actions. I like the lineup that Hungry for More have here up against Paradigm. I'm just worried about if they don't find these combos with that Ninja from CaptainTwig and PrettyPriMe, where they're going to find anything else.
And it's going to be, we've seen this a lot from teams, right? Where it's, you have your wombo combo, right? You have your 3-man core, your jungler, your mid, your support, and they set up for a couple early picks, but the problem is that they have trouble transitioning into the late game. A lot of teams won't necessarily invade as much as they need to, force Gold Furies as much as they need to, and even when they do, the fact is they're really good at ganking players that are not necessarily good at team fighting.
Now Xaliea at the beginning of this game, going with a power potion start here, and Curse, no teleport available for him.
Kill.
So he's going for first blood potentially with that Curse. And 4 health potions, 1 mana. He knows he's going to get mana buff available to him. Tremors is a little bit less, less mana consuming than he used to be these days, so he's a little bit more spammable, especially with a blue buff online. But look at that on the left-hand side, early aggression from Funballer and Trixtank. They're going to get the abduct off on Zindurn, not the target they would have liked to have got it onto, but it's not bad for the early game poke.
This is really good to combine the Khepri with the Xbalanque, who, throwing dagger obviously has helped all the low clear gods, but combining any low clear with god with Khepri, you basically have lane dominance, unless you're up against, say, a Neath or maybe, Sylvanas, although we don't really see him too much anymore. And Variety actually taking a lot of damage. I don't think he was expecting that.
It was actually even in trade, though, and the big difference is Variety's got a health potion and multi-potion ticking, so that's double health ticking away. We don't see that from Xaliea, though, so you'll see a little bit more regen, as well as Scourge, don't forget. That will come online eventually. If he does hit level 4, he'll probably go for that and start getting some extra sustain out of this. But we've got Qvo heading over to this side of the map early on, looking to pressure some more.
It's not just Qvo, it's CaptainTwig as well, and both junglers are going to run into each other, and I think the jig is up there. No one should be falling anytime soon. Xalia's just going to back off to his tower. CaptainTwig shares a little bit of experience and then goes and
you said that when you saw Xalia's build, you knew he was going for a kill, looking for the aggression with Curse, with Power Pot early on in this game, and I think that's exactly what Hungry for More saw here too, and then immediately sent Twig over to make sure there was no potential of an early pick onto him.
And something to note, too, here is you mentioned potions, right? Variety still has 4 in his inventory. Xaliea out. Also, no teleport. But QvoFred not giving up the gank. He's actually going to take a trip over to solo once again. Variety does not have his ultimate available. This could be first blood. No!
Ball misses.
Beautiful.
Cuts off as well. I'm sorry, the aggression from Xaliea coming out. Good little spin there from Quvo for extra damage. But like you said, still got health potions in inventory. 2 now being used by Variety. He should be fine to sustain a little bit more. And Quvo's taking a little bit longer to hit 5. And guess what? Twig is already there.
And Trixtank here walking in the jungle, but he'll back off, and CaptainTwig's going to take a trip back to the base, start working on finishing his boots up, and they're going to be completed. Warrior Tabby online, and that gank there, Variety, just barely getting the dash off in time. Actually, Eagle's rally on the ground. Did he ult? And now he's actually stuck.
There's minions there too. Good dash away to exit through the jungle too. Those archers would have wrecked him as well, as there was a couple of brutes there too. He'll go back to lane, realizing that Xalia's got nothing else left now. And realistically, Variety wins this trade because now that he saw Xaliea back, he can push this wave in one more time, head back to base. He doesn't have to teleport if he needs to because he'll have lane pressure already.
And here's the thing, Variety actually went back early. He used his teleport, couldn't finish off his boot, so a slight win. But Xaliea, with no teleport, will be a little bit worrying, and Variety's already taken a trip back to the base. Right-hand side, Harpies going to go the way of Hungry for More, and the question is, when are they going to pull the trigger, right? Because they need to get rolling early. The later this game goes, Xbalanque, Khepri, Chronos. These gods are going to come online, and then QvoFred and Xaliea, as long as they're a little bit tanky, they can just disrupt the back line or peel for their team. You know, I don't know about Paradigm peeling for the team, but maybe they'll think about it every once in a while, and it's going to be really hard for Hungry for More to match in late game team fights.
Well, both the solo lanes get back to lane there. Twig going to clean up with the ring toss on those fire imps in the fire giant pit. Just make sure he gets those away from himself and head over to his blue. Give that one over to Variety. Just cleared out his wave. His left Harpy's being looked at by Zindurn here, but he's in a bit of an awkward spot.
He actually ulted, just trying to secure, and this tells me that Hungry for More actually aren't even looking for that early game, because using Bacchus Intoxicate on just the mid Harpies to secure them, and I think he did. Not really worth if you're trying to wombo combo players.
Well, there is one thing that's in favor of Hungry for More here, and it's definitely Gulf Fury control with the Vulcan, with the Bacchus as well. 2 very good ways of securing. Even Rama has a better secure than a lot of the gods on the side of Paradigm with that ultimate he's got to himself. So I think maybe they're just looking to farm out the early game, make sure they stay even, and then look for a Gulf Fury in an opportune time when either Quvo ganks right or somebody backs a little bit in an awkward position and gives away position.
With Zindurn's back there, he's going to finish off Shoes of the Magi. So, going for this aggressive Bacchus build, we've seen a couple varieties come out from it. And once again, right-hand side, Variety actually trying to find a kill onto Xaliea there. Neither player has potions. Xaliea does have his ult, but he's stuck under his tower for now. And Variety only with about 100 gold lead over the Cabrakan.
Well, you say 100 gold lead, but take into account that 450 pot at the beginning of the game too.
That's true.
The difference is the build of boots. They're both waiting for boots. Xalia's got enough for it, and that's why Quvo's come over now. So Xaliea can go back again, and this is what Quvo's going to have to do all game. When Xaliea wants to back, he's going to have to get Quvo covering. And I think this is an opportune moment where Hungry for More can start looking, when they see that happening, at going for the Gulf Fury.
And actually, Paradigm full rotating over to the right-hand side, trying to protect their board. The pings were out, and they were over a ward, but
that was early. That was really early.
Whoa.
Trying to use the mobility, I think, more than anything else to get himself out of danger, but now he's going to get full bursted. He's still not dead, however, and his ultimate is now on cooldown, but Variety rotating in is under pressure, and Xalia's going to get first blood at the end of that, as it was an engagement from Hungry for More that just didn't work out. Crazy.
That's really surprising me for Hungry for More, right? Obviously, they catch Trixtank, misclicks his ultimate, or he had to have misclicked. There's no way he intended to ult there. And then right after that, they ult him to the sky. But the thing is, it's still a Khepri at full life with Paradigm's full squad right around you. They should have taken that win, and if anything, looked for a different target. All Twig has to do is bait out one set of purifications, and then ult that target, and then they know the Khepri ult's not online.
And Variety trying to get to that fight ended up getting pincered by the squad that were all surrounding Paradigm from them there as well, because Quvo was in the air and just went for Variety, knowing the Trixtank was safe after the full combo was down from Hungry for More. There was no additional follow-up. So now, with that first kill going the way of Paradigm, Hungry for More looking to try and even things out by getting those right-hand Harpies.
And it looks like Trixtank had used Shell as well, so mitigating a lot of that damage. Maybe without that, he falls there. But Hungry for More, it was kind of an awkward spot because their team couldn't really pressure in with Xaliea and QvoFred sitting around there. And now, we're just going to go back to farming for now, but Hungry for More, they missed one of their opportunities there.
They did, and in the end, Paradigm came out on top. Went the way of Xaliea too, which kind of caught him up a little bit in terms of build. I did say they got that power potion at the start.
Really important for him.
And it didn't pay off in getting that kill. So now that he's going to have a little bit more extra protections coming online, he's working towards potentially a breastplate here. Or we'll see the Dominion, but flopping from Zindurn. Belch is going to connect. However, no stun as Funballer uses the Jaguar to disengage.
A little bit of poke. You can see Ataraxia pinging out where that ward is in case one of the team wants to sentry. And those are some of my favorite wards, but actually, Variety going to try and steal away this blue buff, and Xaliea is going to reset it. Disarmed.
Very good disarm. That was the key there, the disarm. He's going to get punished a little bit there. Is there any support from anybody else? Yes, there is. Trixtank is here. Xaliea low on mana, though, waiting for Qvo, and Variety very, very wise to use the ult over the wall. I like the idea from Prime, looking for a cheeky snipe with that one, but it's a little bit too late. But blue buff goes the way of Hungry for More.
Just barely, though. I mean, I think if QvoFred hits that ult or waits for Variety to go over, maybe we see him killed. But now, actually, it's going to be a counter invade coming out from Paradigm. I like this decision. They know Eagles Rally is down, and they know CaptainTwig can't really get in here, and it's going to be a 1-for-1.
1-for-1 trade on the buffs there. Twig did rotate and trying to steal it back, but trying to secure it rather, but didn't manage to find it. Zindurn going to start up the red buff here with the support of his jungler, Rama. Ataraxia, who for me has had a quite quiet season so far. Ataraxia over in this duo lane.
It's like we haven't seen any bad performances from him, but we haven't really seen any good performances from him. It's just kind of been like playing as is. But one of the problems is with how dominant hunters have been, it's surprising to see Ataraxia not kind of go off more and kind of put the weight of the team on his back, right? You look at Shaggy Shank, even Funballer really has been the same thing for me, but his team as a whole is very strong.
But is he doing that because he's doing more shot calling now? He's got a lot of members here who've been spoken about being quiet. Twig's quite a quiet player, to be fair, from the jungle. You've got Prime in mid, who's known as a chilled out, sort of person in the mid lane. You've got Zindurn, who's new, who may be making calls, so maybe Ataraxia's being involved in these two a little bit more.
You really don't want your hunter shot calling, at least as the main shot caller for the first 15 minutes, which can sometimes determine the game. They're not a part of the fights. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what cooldowns are down. They just don't have the vision of the map. You almost always want it to be either your jungler or your support. Jungler is ideal, but we have seen that, when your star is your jungler, it's hard, right? Adanas trying to take a little bit less
look at this
shot calling this year.
Coming out from Hungry for More, he can see Zindurn in position on that left-hand side, looking for somebody in an awkward position, but well aware. Paradigm. So.
And I like these wards. These wards from Paradigm are beautiful. They're not actually even trying to really, or excuse me, those are Hunger for More. So no, I think Paradigm's just ended. Never mind, I misspoke. I'm colorblind.
Just ended for now. Ring right-hand harpies do go down after the ring toss comes out from Twig once more, and Lawbster's build boot one after starting off with Lost Artifact and then heading towards what looks like a Warlock Sash option here. I think he's not worried about being fought here, quite clearly, by going for the Warlock Sash over the boots mobility.
I mean, he's been pretty defensive, and I think this is just a comp where Paradigm kind of wants to farm out. Right-hand side, QvoFred going to try and gank Variety while Xaliea was back in base. And that's kind of cheeky, right? Because typically if you see the other soul laner back, especially if they don't have teleport, you're not really thinking that you're going to be ganked at all.
Well, you mentioned Xaliea. I mean, look at what he's done there as well. He's sold his Vampiric Shroud already to invest fully into that Breastplate of Valor early on. That's a loss of gold overall, let's be honest.
About 300.
You lose gold on the item sellage, but you do actually complete the full item of something else. Add that onto the fact that he lost 450 from that power potion, which I guess is for the laning phase more than anything else. He's lost a little bit of gold this game so far. Will it be a detriment to him? That's the question.
Hungry for More. Looking like they want to contest this blue buff. Trixtank going to root Zindurn and then dash away. Variety walks over. Doesn't secure the buff, but actually Hungry for More. They're going to go aggressive here, looking for Lawbster.
Gotta find the stun. No, they're not actually. Zindurn gets turned on, eventually gets stunned out himself. Zindurn under pressure, no flop available. They may look for him. Intoxicate comes out. Twig gets a good heal. Qvo ducks in. So does the ult from Vulcan, but Lawbster still falls, and the rewind from Lawbster connects. Now Variety maybe in trouble too. He's just used his ult.
Oh, time stop. Just off the mark though, and Hungry for More should be able to back out of this one. Rotation coming in from Funballer. You could see the pings by Ataraxia. He wasn't able to match the rotation, but will be rewarded with a little bit of free farm. And that's twice now that Hungry for More have been the aggressors, but Paradigm, just the rotational power from them has just been better. They've been fighting as a group of four, and Hungry for More it looks like they're trying to take two different 2-on-2 fights.
I'm not sure if it's Zindurn being a little bit too far ahead of his team, or his team just not being ready for the engagement as much as they should have been, more than anything else. It just feels like they're slightly off. Zindurn's the one that's starting these fights off. The team are collapsing, but it's ever so slightly delayed for whatever reason, and it's been punished by Paradigm both times now.
And a slight gold lead now for Paradigm off of that 500. No one's even looked at the Gold Fury just yet. I don't even think we've seen a ward on the Gold Fury. They've kind of been around it more than often.
I mean, realistically, there was an opportunity there for Paradigm to look at it, but there was still a Rama to deal with as well, who could have sniped it away. I mean, the damage from a Rama ult is significant as the circle gets lower, so you've got to be very, very careful with that.
You don't have to worry about the Gold Fury juking. You can almost always guarantee all three shots on top of it.
I'm with that too. I mean, this stage of the game, lose a Gold Fury. That's the gold value of a Gold Fury at the beginning of the game. Yeah, it's something, but it's not as substantial as it will be as time goes on. So why risk it early where you could just keep the pressure on the lane and continue farming?
I mean, Paradigm, they just want to farm. They just want to get to late game. because they have the Chronos, they have the Xbalanque, they have the Khepri, right? If Hungry for More aren't going to abuse their Wombo combo, which they haven't yet, but to be fair, a lot of that has been Paradigm having really good positioning.
You talk about the Xbalanque as well. Look at that build coming out from him. Full Golden Bow into
wow.
Ninja Tabby before investing into the Xval, which is now online fully as he goes back to base about with Sprint as well as Purification. So going for the attack speed option and the extra Golden Bow damage and crit.
I think a lot of that
is,
but, you know. I think a lot of that is because the fact that Xbalanque has branching bola, so he can get, you know, his autos are going to be hitting for more, and as well, if he can find a couple kills, he'll be getting bonus power from his passive, so probably just wants to enhance that. And Funballer, you know, branching bolas, it's not, you know, the main thing you want to talk about, but having that splash damage, just hitting more players with splash more often, it's going to add up.
Double splash will help out. Mid lane though, aggression. Twig misses his ultimate, looking for a pick on Quvo. Still very, very low, getting bursted by Lawbster, but Lawbster has to rewind, so Twig's fine. Meanwhile, Quvo dives the backline looking for Twig. Still, the ult comes out from Vulcan, perfectly placed, and Variety's rotation makes Lawbster fall down. Quvo off the mark as well, and so you'll see Twig limp away back to base.
That's the strength of teleport, right? It's one thing about getting to lane. It's another thing to teleport to a team fight when the other soul laner is on the wrong side of the map. Variety turns that around, and Hungry for More find their first kill. Looking for their second, but Funballer should be able to make it back to his tower in time.
Some damage onto the Funballer there, but he'll be fine. He'll just be able to limp back into lane and continue farming up once again. I like the decision not to continue aggressing there or try and fight back against the two, even though they'd used a couple of the abilities there. 1-2 is the score right now. If you check the graphs, the gold, well, it's a very, very marginal lead for Paradigm in terms of that, but experience is Hungry for More's way.
Just a little bit as well. I think, where's that coming from here? Probably the soul lane, I would imagine.
I'd say that was the invade and the solo lane at the start of the game. The start of the game and the invade early on.
Funballer also has an experience lead, although very slight, still something to take note of for now. Also a 200 gold lead over Ataraxia, so been farming a little bit better than the Rom so far.
So far, indeed. And Bacchus going to be taken red, going to drop down as well once again for Vulcan. And the Vulcan by PrettyPriMe this year got Soulstone Star into Celestial Legion Helm as well as has those shoes of Magi online. Looks like he's going towards Book of Thoth or Soul Reaver here.
Probably Book of Thoth. I would imagine he wants to farm up. Typically, you're not going to see Soul Reaver come online until you have magical power to make it worth that, just because it's such a large investment for just a single hit. And if PrettyPriMe throws out any poke and doesn't have that passive, after that passive is gone, I mean, Book of Thoth is just a stronger item.
Both teams just looking for farm at the moment, but they're setting up here Paradigm by the looks of it for this blue buff. Variety's going to sniff this out and warn the team, but already Xaliea blinks in. Twig lost a chunk of his health there, as now Lawbster turns up to the fight as well. Going to get a stun off onto Zindurn, but he's not too worried. Quvo dunks the backline, but gets ulted in return by Twig. Ult's coming, dunking down! Boom! Goes the dynamite, but it's not enough for the kill, and still Xaliea picks up Twig.
Rewind coming out from Funballer now, and it's going to be over the top for Variety. Misses the stun, though. Meatball knocks up Trixtank. Zindurn getting very low. He's being chased by Funballer. The snipes come through. Ataraxia, though, can't find the last hit. Funballer takes Zindurn out in the back line, but Lawbster finally falls to Variety.
And Messi fires the meatball, comes out. Variety still giving chase, looking for that potential pick there on the back, but we're following Ataraxia as he finds the shot onto Trixtank after the roll. Turns his attention to the cut-off member of the team, which is Funballer here, but Funballer trying to get away, does get the rising geograph perfectly. The sprint helping him out a little bit. No, it wasn't because it wasn't available, but what a crazy fight.
2 for 2 overall, all over a single blue buff. But Hungry for More might come out on top if they can siege this tier 1 tower. QvoFred, he's trying to get here as fast as he can. 3 members poking forward, and the wall coming out from Xaliea should force Hungry for More back.
And in the end, nobody ends up winning that engagement. It was a crazy one, back and forth, but you can see it's still relatively even. Experience goes away Hungry for More until that wave's cleared. It'll dip a little bit more once again as Paradigm do start respawning. But Variety's back, he's teleported in, and Funballer is going to 1v1 against Ataraxia in an awkward spot. He doesn't realize that Variety was there. He will now as he falls down under the tower, but maybe, just maybe, Variety may pay as well because Quvo's around.
He's going to land down, just off the mark, though, and you can see the rest of Hungry for More coming off of their deaths are going to be fine. But actually, there's the Hamel for QvoFred, and he could be turned on as well. And it's going to be CaptainTwig looking for the stun off the mark, and actually Variety almost falls for that.
Twig still has his ultimate available, still holds onto it. Missed a sash there as well, but still got Purification out. Flop from Zindurn onto Trixtank, but now that down Lawbster swinging in here, going to get some free in-hands off if he wants to. As Xaliea limps back to this fight. Why are we all on the right-hand side of the map, guys?
I don't know. That
was
such a weird engage. Funballer, like, first off, he's not going to win that 1v1 against Rom to begin with, He has no mana, he has half life, right? He had enough mana to jump away. And even if he stops the back, he's just wasting his own time more than anything. And then obviously Variety shows up as well, gets the turnaround kill. QvoFred lands down trying to defend. Obviously QvoFred, after he hammers, then there's an opportunity for Hungry for More to pick him off, but CaptainTwig can't land the sash, and then it just gets turned on once again.
And realistically, when you look at what happened there, the tier 1 tower did finally fall in favor of Hungry for More, so they get the advantage, especially now, you know, Xaliea, without a teleport available to him, going to have to be defending at a tier 2 tower instead, gives Variety a little bit more control in that lane as well, and the opportunity to rotate and still hold that teleport.
This is where Hungry for More can really start abusing the lack of teleport for Xaliea. He's gone Blink as well, you could see. It's simply just have Variety sit in the solo lane and split push. Xaliea walks over, you teleport in. Even if you don't get the Gold Fury, you force a fight and you force the odd numbers. That's why Hungry for More were able to find a couple kills in the mid lane earlier. It's because of that, because Variety teleported into a ward at the mid Harpies, ults over, finishes off Lawbster, and then Paradigm, they simply can't respond.
They're looking a lot better here, Hungry for More, for me. They had that good set, obviously, against Fnatic, and I think that is just giving them a really big boon of confidence here that they're bringing into this Paradigm game. Look at this fight. Gold Fury started up here. Trixtank well aware, as is Funballer. Remember, Darkest of Night, such an influential ability in a team fight, and by seeing that, it looks like Hungry for More is going to head back.
Vulcan ult is available as well for that secure for Hungry for More, but still, I feel like they're a little bit timid to kind of execute their team comp. Variety going to be stunned out of his bludgeon here, but he has rotated over.
It was a very nice wall coming out from Qvo. Nicely timed, just to make sure the bludgeon did not connect and hit onto Lawbster, who would have taken a little bit of a chunk of health, even with that Warlock Sash at 67 stacks now. And talking about the mid laners, obviously in stacks, we do see PrettyPriMe did go for that Book of Tough, and now stacking that one up too, so damage going to continue to increase.
And he's got most of that damage front-loaded. I think the stacks contribute to like 17.5 magic power or something. It's something inconsequential. It's like it's less than 20. So you just get such a massive kind of power boost just from completing the item. You can see the pings coming out though. I think it's Funballer rotating over, but it doesn't look like Hungry for More trying to force anything. A Variety. This is I love what he's doing, right? He's forcing Xaliea over to the right-hand side of the map, which opens up opportunities for Hungry for More to force fights.
Respect the burst, though. That was a level 15 Xaliea versus a level 17 Variety, and that amount of burst with just 3 items. But look at that. Wall dunk combo is online. Variety's still alive for now, but for how long he's surrounded? What's the call going to be from Hungry for More in response? They're not going to be able to get to the Gold Fury in time. And it was the Soul Weaver. That was what it was. The
Chunky.
Soul Weaver chunked.
Absolutely
so
chunky. And I don't even think Variety knew that was completed yet. Because he just got bursted almost his entire life bar. And now Hungry for More. Left-hand side of the map, it looks like they're just trying to ward up Gold Fury. I thought they were, no, they're actually pulling it.
Start it, but Trix and Funball show their face against Sash, missing from Twig, so...
These have not been on point for Twig today.
What, the sashes?
There are armillary sashes. There's been so many misses. Even the ults. There's only, I think, really been 2 successful, and they weren't even successful, right? The first one was finding Trixtank point blank, but he was full life. And then after that, it was actually when QvoFred came dunking down on him in the back right side, near his own blue buff. He was able to get the quick 180 turn, take someone up to the sky. But so far, this Naja, honestly, 0 impact on the game.
Well, we'll see if he can do anything, because once this one slash connects, it can really swing things around as he looks towards mid lane. Now, red buff being dropped by Funballer for safety more than anything else there. Not going to take it for himself. They're looking to give that one over to Lawbster. Just make sure it doesn't get stolen away from Hungry for More, who head back towards the Gold Fury and begin their assault on it once more. This time, though, where are the defenders? Because there's no one showing up and they're not in time. Bursted. Well played by Hungry for More. Created the opportunity, and they should get out for free.
And you could see Paradigm comes crashing down there, and QvoFred quickly realizes that his team isn't in position to fight, so Paradigm will concede that for now. It's a 1,000 gold lead for Hungry for More. Not that big, honestly. We're only 21 minutes in. That's not that big, and now Hungry for More got to force a fight.
Really looking for Qvo, but gets bursted so heavily, he's going to get evaporated, stuck. In the end, he ends up ulting Lawbster for a minute. The Vulcan ult's going to connect too, but it's not enough damage. The Sanctuary ends up being used by Lawbster on landing to make sure he doesn't get hit by that. Funballer here trying to zone away the team now as Variety has to retreat to them once more. Root does connect with Zindurn though, as Ataraxia turns to the fray.
All 5 members of Paradigm still strong. Variety holding the front line, but it doesn't look like they're going to be surging forward. 4 members alive. Actually, no, Hungry for More. They're still looking for the fight. Even though they lost 1, Variety forces QvoFred to back, and now the team's going to siege this tier 1.
But how long can they siege for? Because at the moment they're still waiting for minions which don't exist. They're just at the tower line there. You can see that when
they were just trying to get anything.
Already down. I mean, Hungry for More just have to take what they got from that engagement.
And that's the third time that Hungry for More have forced a fight, and it's just been not ideal, right? The team isn't synergizing well. CaptainTwig caught off by himself. He sashes to an opponent and immediately Paradigm turns on him. Before it was Zindurn. Before that, I believe it was, I think, CaptainTwig also. So
Xaliea trying to force it in mid. Keep an eye on him. He's got that Soul Reaver available right now. And I think that's going to be the call-in from Paradigm every single time. When Soul Reaver is up for Xaliea, we're going in, and Xaliea is going to be the initiator. Cuvo will be secondary in these team fights. If he can just burst any single target, you saw Twig's health disappear, and he actually had to ult defensively in the end.
And the gold lead has been neutralized once again by Paradigm. Only 200 separate the teams, 22 minutes in, 4 to 6 in kills. Although a lot of action, to be fair, right? There's been a lot of players wanting to fight here. It hasn't been a slow-paced game, and I'm really worried for Hungry for More. The later this game goes, Chronos, Xbalanque, Khepri. And then you have QvoFred with the mobility on Thor. You have Xaliea, who has kind of that burst potential. Now he can fall very easily. Xaliea, come late game, will get burned, especially by the Rom. But if he can get his damage off, that's all that matters.
I mean, Rom is not necessarily not a hyper carry here. He's just going to be a little bit not as strong as a Xbalanque late game. That's what we want to really say here. He has the potential to 1v1 a Xbalanque, yeah, because it's just outplay potential. However, Xbalanque just brings a little more.
It's obviously your hunter's skill as well. If they're hitting auto attacks, that's good. Hungry for More, though, looking for a fight. Zindurn surges forward, misses his block, and he's going to get turned on.
But where's the team? Getting isolated by QvoFred. Disgustingly isolated the whole team with that one wall. He stood off to the side, and Zindurn gets taken out. Now, though, Lawbster had to rewind. He's in an awkward spot as he does get crit. Rama going to go to the sky looking for the snipes. Hits the red buff. Lawbster hiding around the corner, juking out nicely. Gets hit by the third one, though. That chunked him. Twig giving chases. Xaliea zoning the rest of the team away. But there is Trixtank with the ultimate to keep Lawbster alive. Xaliea will fall, keeping those two members busy. And now we've got an interesting fight still.
PrettyPriMe almost falls there, but the meditation coming up from Variety will keep him alive. Eagles rally, and actually Variety surging forward, chasing out Lawbster in the backline, though. Funballer, he split off from the rest of his team. No, actually,
weakest Prime.
Paradigm have all of Hungry for More surrounded in this Gold Fury pit, and they're just chunking at them one at a time.
They're going to be careful because Cuvo's getting very low. Sanctuary is low, but is it a good bait? That's the question. No, he will fall. Can they pick up Twig in response? He's looking for the Jukes at the moment, but Funballer isolates him in a corner as Lawbster now uses his Sanct to avoid the bludgeon. He trusting his teammate to hold it that long. Variety still looking for a pick. Got to look for the Scourge if he can find it, if he can get in range, but still he has to turn back, and it's Lawbster that gets the kill. Paradigm played that almost to perfection.
4 for 2. Zindurn has respawned, but once again, Hungry for More. Their players are on just different pages in their book. Zindurn jumps forward, no one else is even in range, right? Even if he finds the flop, no one else can follow up. Then he gets walled off and blown up. Now, Xaliea also getting a little bit caught out there by himself in the end, but you saw all of Paradigm were actually surrounding Hungry for More in a single pit. PrettyPriMe was left alone. Funballer almost 100 to 0'd him outside of that meditation coming out from Variety, but still couldn't get his damage off because he spent the whole time running away from the hunter.
What is this? Is this really... Because realistically, Hungry for More look really good this game for me. They look better than they did against Fnatic as well. The game against Fnatic was great, but for me, this is a better game from them once again this week. I like the fact that they're getting stronger each week, but they've just got to work on the synergy a little bit more. Is it just like one person's off the page? You keep saying this. Is it just Zindurn?
It's like
too aggressive?
Previously, the problem was like they were never really aggressive when they needed to. Right? They would have a composition designed around to hit picks, but now they're being aggressive, but it's just the positioning of the players is just slightly off. And to be fair, that's also hard for them against this Paradigm comp, right? Not only do they have the Thor wall, but they also have Xaliea with his ultimate as well, so it's kind of hard. So Zindurn, when he goes in, he needs to be fully aware of where the Thor is specifically, and if he's not, he's going to get isolated like he has 3 times already.
Well, 2 players on the side of Hungry for More involved in at least 5 kills. One of them, Ataraxia, who we're tuning in with now, as well as Variety, who's been involved in every single kill they've managed to pick up. It shows the impact he's making in this game on this frontline Bellona. 5 of those kills going his way. 5.
Whew. And Variety, having a big game. 2nd highest damage so far, although he is in the soul lane, so he does have a little bit of poke. And Variety actually caught alone, speaking of him.
Does have to ult away after that, but now Ataraxia trying to swing around, trying to support. Xalia's the one going to get focused. Trixtank with the ult. Rama going to hold that and wait patiently. 1, 2. Very nice.
Look,
didn't get the third one off, which I could understand, but the wall is down surrounding him. The wall and Lawbster will pick it up for the kill. Twig now gets abducted into an awkward spot too. He's trying to look for Lawbster. That's the call from the team of Hungry for More, but they've not looked at Funballer, who's now coming in from the back at full health, going to be able to continue the chase with his boys as Lawbster takes out PrettyPriMe. They're going to run down Variety now. They abduct. He's too fat. Trix, lose some weight, son.
Stun coming through from Zindurn should keep the rest of Paradigm at bay for now, but a 3-for-1 once again. Hungry for More dumping everything they have into Xaliea. They're able to take him out each time, but the fact of the matter is, Funballer keeps escaping death barely. There's been multiple times where he's rewound at less than 5% life, got away with it. And then there, even at the Gold Fury, left unprotected, like he has been every single fight. PrettyPriMe. This feels like a Paradigm, right? Where it's like, where Hungry for More is diving in and leaving their carries alone.
Zindurn tries to zone Lawbster away just to relieve the pressure on Variety there, but meanwhile, while this is going on, Funballer doing the Gold Fury at the moment. His 3 members continue to assault. He's got an Assy online. He should be fine there. Variety is still going in, looking for a pick, but Lawbster's been revived again, but he will be able to get away thanks to that. And Qvo going to dip too now as they look at Trixtank. Trix should fall here.
Trix just killed, like, he just sacrificed himself to get Lawbster out. He's going to fall no matter what, but that was just such a beautiful play. He abducts Variety away, or excuse me, Zindurn away. You saw Lawbster there, had the Khepri revive on him, but it wasn't popped, and Zindurn was going to wait that out and then jump on him. So they get a Gold Fury, they get a tier 2 tower, and he saves Funballer.
Hey, credit to Trixtank right now, because we've been talking a lot about Paradigm this year and how they've been worked out, because like even as casters, we've seen so many games of these guys, they have a play style that they just leave Lawbster and Funballer to die, but this year, I think they've realized that too, and now Trix is converting into this real support peel guy the whole game, perfectly positioned, supporting the team, initiating on occasion as we see a fight. Zindurn under pressure again, below half health. Sash comes out from Twig, going to take one to the sky, looking for the pick. Can he find it is the question. The Vulcan ult does connect. Lawbster is deleted. He's the first one down. Trix is already dead too. This is a great opportunity for Hungry for More. Now they turn on Xaliea.
Xaliea is isolated right now, jump forward, and it's going to be PrettyPriMe finding 2 actually, and that was just such a beautiful engage coming out from them. Double tap connects from QvoFred, but Hungry for More, they answer back with 2 kills. And are they going to force this?
Can they try and force
it? They're going to force it.
Slow.
Zindurn canceled his back. They're forcing this.
Variety does not have teleport, so he's not going to be able to go back to base again. They're going to try and hard force this one. Prime is the first one looking. They'll hear Qvo go to the sky, and the call is to dip for a second and see where Qvo lands. They'll look for Zindurn. Zindurn immediately gets meditated from Variety to keep him alive. Once again, Variety returns to the front line. Fire Giant did not reset, but Funballer is here, Trix is here, Qvo's here, and it's still above half health.
You could see Hungry for More actually taking a lot of damage. You need to be careful. CaptainTwig gets knocked up. He has Fire Giant. Shell is popped, and now Hungry for More. They're on full retreat. It's Variety in the back line. Same with QvoFred, though. He's surrounded by 4. Sanctuary in place. He's knocking out of this one, though. PrettyPriMe finds the kill as Variety zones the rest of Paradigm.
Variety did the right thing there. He took Funballer out of the fight, which brought Trixtank to go and help Funballer, worried that Variety would solo him, as Qvo engaged at the same time, so there was no support for Qvo. You can't save both of them in that situation, and Qvo will be the target that falls. Fire Giant, however, does stand, so there's a small win off that for Paradigm, even though they lost Qvo.
And now Paradigm actually still up in gold. Can we actually take a quick look at the graphs? 3,500, 3,000 experience. At this point in the game, not really a lot. Soul laners are 20, both junglers are 18, mid laners are 20, hunters are 20, right?
Yeah.
Everything's all even. That's like a couple wards and maybe a tier 1 item when it comes down to
we're approaching
the Gold Fury.
6 items now. That's the big key now. The gold's not going to make as much of an impact once we hit those 6 items once again. The completion of them is very important here. The Witchblade?
No, well, I saw that and I like that and I was going to mention that, but look at Funballer's build, right? It's one thing to finish Golden Bow and go Ninja Tabi, because Ninja Tabi are actually the higher DPS item, you know, if you hit all your auto attacks, you know, math numbers, all that fun stuff. But he's also gone the Fatalis, an item that we've seen some hunters experiment with, right? You're going to have lower damage numbers, but it's going to give you the mobility to kind of keep the chase on in these engagements.
And he sold Xbalanque for that as well. He didn't go for the Odysseus bow, which we've seen a lot of times, which is more AoE. And to be fair, does Xbalanque really need more AoE than a golden bow and a branching bowler?
I mean, maybe. Maybe it's just a ton of teamfight damage, right? Obviously, you're not going to 100-0 the whole team, but all that splash damage.
But survivability that the Haste and Fatalis will give you.
That's the big thing.
I guess that's the big key that he's looking for. He's baiting out the Fire Giant here by swinging at it, but he's not actually cleaning the ward or anything. But looks like Paradigm looking for a pick. Keep an eye on Xaliea more than not, because he'll be the one to try and burst someone very, very heavily. They're looking at Variety now as we tune in with Lawbster, who forces the ultimate thanks to that stun.
They didn't want to all-in variety there. We've seen that we've seen that multiple times where teams will all-in either a support or a warrior, like a solo laner, and then kind of just get baited into a bad engagement, even if they find the kill. All they were doing there, trying to force out that Eagles rally, and now gaining control of the Fire Giant pit.
Well, they gain control of the Fire Giant pit, but they're not going to be able to do it, especially with so many members of Hungry for More being around. Luckily for Paradigm, though, right-hand side, there's some extra farm in that lane because of the fact it was pushed up so far. And you can see the Hungry for More kind of just have to hang around with nothing to really farm here for a moment or two, waiting for minions to either pour in or for Paradigm to look for the engage of Fire Giant.
A lot of this game is going to be based around PrettyPriMe, I think, right? Can Paradigm shut him down at the start of the fight, or can he stay alive and just get off all his damage? He's sitting at the top of the charts right now.
His positioning on Vulcan is probably the best position I've seen on any Vulcan.
It's really well played.
His turret placement as well is another thing that just is such a strong factor for him as well. He consistently gets good damage off and stays at the range that is difficult to stay at as a Vulcan because you want to be in range for the backlash. But here we go. Already Ataraxia bursted below half health, trapped in the walls. The tremors come down. He takes to the sky. Going to look to return to damage to somebody, and it's actually for Funballer who was looking, but Funballer going to jag you away. He rolls into a wall, gets abducted back in. Ataraxia is still under pressure, but a good sash from Twig comes out, forcing Funballer to take a dive to the death penalty box. But luckily, Trixtank is there to secure him back alive. Only for a second, though, as Prime picks that one up. Xaliea is very low. Twig's also under pressure as Qvo's looking for him. Rewind from Lawbster, back to full health. Twig's going to fall.
This is it. This should be it. Hungry for more on full retreat. That's another dead. Lawbster finds the kill. Zindurn actually surging forward here. So far, it's been a 2-for-1. So despite all the fighting, only 3 players fall in that engagement. Somehow.
That's just credit to both the teams, the way they played that fight overall.
Okay, Ataraxia killed himself.
Why?
First
How?
off, like, he rolled into a wall.
No, right, you say he rolled into a wall, okay, but for me, he got bursted to half health, sanctuaried, avoided the ult damage from the wall, then went to the sky to buy a few seconds because he was in tremors, hoping his teammates would help him out. When he landed, the wall was still there. That's just unfortunate.
I mean, if he rolled backwards into the wall, I would say okay.
He did roll backwards into the wall.
No, he didn't. He turned his camera and rolled forward into the wall.
Oh, well.
If he rolled backwards, then okay. But he rolled forward into it.
Looking for Zindurn, turns towards Variety again. Meatball Mariana comes out for QvoFred. Not sure if he likes that dish. We'll find out as Variety goes in with Zindurn, looking to collapse here onto Xaliea, but it's Variety who's in trouble, and Variety will fall. Qvo now takes in the sky, looking for potentially another target.
I think he wants Prime, but Xaliea as well, kind of blocking off the rest of Paradigm there. They're not going to auto-attack it. They're just going to turn their attention to the gold theory. They want the free gold. They want to finish off their builds here and extend their lead before one of the final fights, more than likely.
For the moment, though, Hungry for More can just give up that gold view, it seems now.
They can't really fight it. Most of their players are full build. There's really no need to contest it and risk losing players and potentially more towers or the Fire Giant there. They know they're in a position where they can fight, right? If Ataraxia doesn't kill himself this time, right? Like he pulled an hi-rez.
For me, I don't think he killed himself. Like, he was stuck, but, you know.
He pulled an hi-rez, man. He rolled into a wall.
It hurts. 16 to 12. Let's check in with the graphs, though, to see how that Gold Fury influences it. It's still only 5k difference in both XP and Gold. And XP not going to matter too much. It's only really on Twig, who's 19, and Zindurn at 17. That's the real difference makers.
And CaptainTwig still looking to finish off his last time. He actually went into Magical Defense there. It's going to be Bulwark of Hope, and once again, going into the protection. So all he's trying to do right now is stay alive and set up for PrettyPriMe with those Windfire wheels. And Ataraxia is hanging around here with him as well.
7 assists to his name. Not managed to pick up a kill, but to be fair, is he really looking for the kills? He's looking to set up the Vulcan more often than not.
He wants the assist, right? 0-5 and 7. He wants the assist, although once again, CaptainTwig, a little bit of inconsistency. We've seen a lot of missed abilities from him.
And talking about consistency, variety, this game, 5, 4, and 5. His profile picture on Twitter at the moment is a picture of Anne Robinson from The Weakest Link with his face.
I saw
He is the weakest link.
Not in this game. He's not the weakest link in this game. I'll tell you that for sure. Funballer, though, sitting at 4, 2, and 10. Doesn't look like he's trying to trade out this build. So I suspected that maybe he wanted to switch out some of the items, like Golden Bow.
He just did it.
Did he?
He just literally, just as you were doing it,
I literally looked at it,
Bow.
saw Golden Bow, looked at you, and then you're like, no, he did it.
No, he just did it. He just bought Transcendence instead. Extra power spike. It is a power spike over a Golden Bow.
It's one of the highest base power items in the game. I think it is the highest base power item in the game when you count in the stacks.
Now the question is, when the Transcendence fully is stacked, if it gets fully stacked, do you look at selling the Fatalis again for Odibo just for extra AoE one more time?
No, I think he...
Because the power from Odibo...
It's possible.
Comes from Transcendence too.
I think the difference there is, does he feel like Fatalis is either A, helping him get more damage off because he can keep up the chase, or B, help him escape, right? And if those are more valuable than the DPS gain, then he's going to stick with.
I mean, he's only died twice,
Fatalis.
so he might be working out for him so far. Maybe it's just positioning as a whole. He's just working out great for him at the moment. Both teams in a bit of a lull in action. It's not because, you know, they're bored. It's just they both are very worried about the Fire Giant. That is going to be the biggest contention point here. The fights are going relatively even, and if one team overdoes it, it seems they will end up, obviously, losing the game.
Paradigm still have control of this match, right? Not even looking at the gold lead or the experience lead between the junglers, which is negligible at this point. It's the towers, right? All they have left is 2 tier 2 towers in the mid and the right-hand side. If they win a fight or get a Fire Giant, that's guaranteed multiple Phoenixes. Hungry for more, there's a lot of objectives left for them to take on the map, and it's going to be harder for them to kind of clear out that base.
Zindurn pushing forward, going to get the Belch off onto Xaliea there. Gives a moment's notice for Ataraxia to be able to find that ward, but ends up having to use his purification to get away there, I believe. Yeah, he did. And roll away from the danger that was coming in from Paradigm. Qvo's playing this so well with this positioning as well. His walls have cut off so many times. This team that are ground orientated for the most part.
He's 0-2 and 14. He's been a part of 14 kills in this match, and a lot of it's just been set up, right? And his decision-making has been really, really intelligent, too, right? I've seen multiple times where he'll, like, hammer someone point blank after they're stunned, and instead of just, like, trying to get the damage off, he recognizes the rest of Hunger for More behind him, and he actually hammers through and just repositions himself. I've seen that 3 times now.
That what you just saw there, cut off Variety, and it just allowed Funballer a little bit of free poke onto Variety, and there was not a whole lot he could do Variety, because if he engages, he's going to get taken down by the whole squad. Once again, Paradigm set up a semicircle around this Fire Giant pit. Once again, sentry wards dropped by Hungry for More to control the zone, making sure they deny vision. We're just going to sit on the right-hand side of the map all day here, but look at this. Variety, a bit awkward here. Zindurn flops in, Zindurn misses, ends up intoxicating, gets stunned as well. That forces Twig in, but the ult comes out from Xaliea as well, and Zindurn is the focused target. As Funballer pushes forward on the right, on his own, Funballer is alone on the right-hand side here, and now he's going to get engaged on by multiple targets. Potentially the snipes come raining down as well from Ataraxia. Funballer is so low, it allows Variety to go in looking for the stun. The big ult is going to come down and hit him, but it's not enough for a kill as Trixtank finds the ult.
And it's Funballer who finds the first kill of this match. Lawbster's going to rewind and actually surges forward, looking for 2 players, but actually splits in between them. Turns his attention to Zindurn. 1 more auto looking for it. He is going to find it. That's a 2 for, oh no, excuse me, a 1 for 1 because Funballer fell as well.
Ring toss ends up connected at the end there from Twig. Bounces off multiple members to pick up Funballer. Hunter and for support and solo laner.
Funballer, though, right, that was a very clean engagement from Paradigm. They isolated off 2 players, right? It was Zindurn who got bursted, and they were kind of just dealing with Variety by chain CCing him. All of a sudden, Funballer actually surges up the right-hand side by himself and immediately Hungry for More. Even though they don't kill him right there, they burst him, and that forces him to fall back, and he can't get his damage off as easily anymore.
And the reason he didn't get bursted immediately was because he did pop Darkest of Nights during that. So he was using Darkest of Nights to get some free poke off, but he was very alone. I think that was the only thing I was worried about. He was very, very isolated there on that right side.
He was trying to 1v1 Ataraxia. I don't know if he's trying to prove himself because he did that twice now. Even earlier at that tower siege, the tier 1 tower siege, when Hungry for More were surging forward, he stops Ataraxia's back. Ataraxia was full life and like half mana. Funballer was half life and no mana, and then he gets turned on by Variety, who just walks in and kills him. I feel like Funballer's trying to prove a point here.
Well, we get a fight, but the Fire Giant once again stands. It wasn't clean enough for either team to look for it, and everybody's respawned once more. Gold Fury back available. Will we see someone swing around there to try and pick that up for the team? I could potentially see, I'm not sure, we see one of the Hunters go over there, maybe Ataraxia, just swing by, try and get the Gold Fury if they want it.
It's not really needed at this point. Everyone's full build. I mean, that's just
the story.
It's just like, you're just wasting the potential for a fight, right? It's like, if you have a player over there and the other team engages, and it's a Hunter who can't teleport, you're fighting a man down.
So you can see pretty much everybody, full build as we said. PrettyPriMe gone for the Soul Weaver option instead of Spear, and meanwhile Lawbster gone for the Spear instead of a Soul Weaver.
Ooh.
Some more sustained damage. Fire Giant has finally been started. Teleport comes out from Variety, not time for Xaliea to cancel it. Who's going to eat a couple of autos there, but a couple of double tap comes out there as Variety engages onto Lawbster on the back there, forcing Paradigm back a little bit, but Hungry for More not pushing in too much. They actually pop sprint a little bit early, worried about Quvo.
He's in the sky. He's going to find the stun here. Zindurn just trying to zone the rest of the team, but the wall, it's isolated. CaptainTwig, and Xaliea cutting him off, but CaptainTwig manages to somehow get out. Zindurn on the front line, not that tanky. Bulwark's going to keep him alive for now, and he actually engages on 3. He's so low. Vulcan all comes through. Can't finish off Lawbster, though. He gets the rewind, and CaptainTwig falls.
Zindurn also falls as he gets collapsed on trying to escape the engagement. The rest of Hungry for More having to limp back to base on very low health. The Vulcan ultimate was good, but the rewind from Lawbster was better. All 5 members of Paradigm stand, and look at their health bars. They're looking pretty good for themselves now, and you can see Quvo just happy to zone out anybody looking at trying to come in. Variety already used the teleport. Look at that graph, though, of that team fight.
9,800 damage done by Paradigm, 4,700 coming out from Hungry for More. You see the 2 for 0 kills, but more importantly, 2 or 3 other players took so much damage they were forced back to the base. They couldn't fight into that fire giant, and now tier 2 tower going to fall. Paradigm surging forward. 25 seconds on Twig, 22 seconds on Zindurn.
Paradigm will not be happy with this performance from their standpoint. This should have been, for them, on paper, they would have felt they should have done this a lot quicker than they did, but for Hungry for More so far, what a performance they've had to get to this stage of the game. They've got things to work on still, but every single game is looking better from them every single week.
It's just, once again, Zindurn jumps forward, but the problem is, even though they had even if Lawbster dies there, they still lose that fight. Ataraxia sitting at 10% life. Same with PrettyPriMe sitting at they had to back off. They were so low. It's just different pages on the book, on the same book. They're not synergizing well.
Well, Hungry for More just trying to farm up their jungle now, clear out a couple of wards you can see, and wait for the assault that's going to come again from Paradigm. They went back to base to spend up that gold they earned from the tier 2 and the Fire Giant and the Phoenix. And then, well, they'll probably barrel down mid looking for the tier 2, which will be free along with that gold for you on the left.
Everyone full build, though. The game's not over just yet. Mantle of Discord finished for Xaliea. He's been getting himself into a little bit of trouble. Takes damage, especially from Ataraxia. Kind of gets shredded at this point. The Oboe doing a lot of teamfight damage. And I believe it was, what was the last item for Zindurn? It's Spirit's Rope he's working on. Or maybe a Mantle of Discord. Mantle's probably going to help him more.
I think it'll be Mantle here because he's on the front line a whole lot. He's engaging with the flops, then getting bursted. So I guess a stun off, it does set up for that Vulcan ult one more time. Tier 2 tower falls in mid. Funballer pushing down the left-hand side. You can see Xaliea hanging in the jungle. They're looking for a blink opportunity over the wall with that Soul Reaver in hand too. Quvo, though, still on the right in mid here, so they think that's going to be the call from the team. They might go for the split option. Lawbster is still hanging around the left.
It's not going to be easy to break this base. Hungry for More. That Vulcan, PrettyPriMe, all he needs is one ult at max range to turn this.
Are they just waiting for the right side to push in here? I think that's the call. Wait for the 5 minions to get down right, then look for one of these. Seems to be.
And Lawbster, he's going to split on the left. Actually, poking out Ataraxia, he's got to go back to Fountain. Now's the opportunity, and that's the call. Funballer, Darkest Nights, they're going to find Zindurn isolated. No, he actually managed to get out just in time.
Well, the Phoenix in mid falls, that's all it was for. The Phoenix in mid lane did go. Now, Hungry for More have to engage soon, otherwise they're going to get sieged by 5 minions in mid, 5 minions in right, and the whole team of Paradigm in left.
QvoFred comes crashing down. CaptainTwig caught on the wrong side of the wall, but he's going to hammer out Zindurn and Intoxicate. The drunk state on Paradigm, but they're just going to back off. Actually, CaptainTwig takes one to the sky. Vulcan ult, here it goes. It's on to Xaliea, but he has the Khepri ult. No, it was actually used to zone, and Xaliea, his ult gets popped, and he's going to reset, and just Hungry for More getting chipped away.
Snipes coming out, looking for a pick. Second hit misses. Third one is going to connect. It will, you know, there's a lot of damage, but it's not enough for the kill still. Lawbster, however, will find a kill onto Ataraxia. Lawbster trying to rewind, but no. Prime playing a great game once more on that Vulcan. Well, I'll tell you what, there's one guy who's playing the same god he was when they did that Cloud9 defense as Titan, and he's on Vulcan still, and
almost 3 Phoenixes.
It's similar.
It's almost
very similar.
It was all 3 Phoenixes. Zindurn gonna get isolated here, caught out, gets over the wall though. QvoFred helping out his buddy Zindurn there. Variety teleports around the corner, and I think that was a Sanctuary used by someone. Okay, QvoFred uses the Sanctuary, a little bit scared there. And Paradigm, they actually haven't backed. They've just been baiting Hungry for More in.
Again on Xaliea, connects onto Variety. And that should be the Phoenix falling on the left-hand side now. Once more, turret gets dropped from Prime to try and create a zone, but Quvo dives in, looking for the Titan end, and gets punished for it. Twig gets a kill, but it looks like the Titan should fall down here. 600 health, 32 health, death. Game 1 to Paradigm. But my oh my, that was a good performance from Hungry for More for me.
I think if their team fights were a little bit better, I think a couple players kind of went off on their own there.
They're creating themselves a style, though, which is what I like. For me, it was a team that's like come together this year of multiple players from different organizations that have all been around the scene for a while, but they're starting to find an identity of what their style is, and it's starting to work.
Let's take a quick look at First Blood going the way of Paradigm. This was awkward because it was actually Hungry for More who forced this fight onto Trixtank.
And immediately they burst looking for Twig originally, but there's Variety who's caught by Qvo, dunking in, and Lawbster really, they were the two workhorses of that little pick. But Xaliea, throughout this game, his build was interesting, especially with selling that, that early Warlock, Vampiric Shroud, but then got a Soul Reaver that just blew the mind of Variety. He was not expecting it.
And a lot of it was just isolating players, right, with the double walls. They had the Thor wall, they had Cabrakan walls, and it was just like, the second a player steps out of line, they're caught. Like, the only way CaptainTwig can go right there is back into Paradigm.
Yep, every single time. And then Zindurn, he just covers the front line for a while, realizes he can set up on the back line with Peel. I think maybe this is the call for the team. They're just getting so much more Peel as a team for each other, which is not something I'm used to saying.
I mean, maybe that's why Paradigm took a little bit longer to kind of win that game there.
Maybe so. Lawbster also had a pretty good game for himself on that Chronos. Very good rewinds. I think it was only once I saw him really drop before he could get that one off.
I think it was at the end there at the Phoenix.
Yeah. Maybe one other then. I think it was two then.
It's close.
I forgot about that last one at the end. But yeah, Lawbster had a pretty good game for himself over in the mid lane. Consistent performance once again, which is kind of the backbone of Paradigm for the most part.
When Lawbster plays, it's like he's not going to feed, right? Every once in a while, he'll take a lot of deaths, but he still does his job, and just isolating off the players here. And it was just these rewinds, right? Just like under 10% life, barely getting out every single time. And then just turning on the back line, left unprotected. Zindurn obviously going to jump forward. And this was this really extended engagement that was just beautiful.
And then just a continuation of the Fire Giant fight, which was the one we just saw from Xalia's angle here. He gets focused on by Twig here. And see the Purification there? That's just preemptive of the Sash. He doesn't want to lose any damage. He doesn't want to potentially get ulted as well there. So just preemptively does it to try and keep himself alive and dealing damage for as long as possible. Even the turret, decision to take out the turret there.
And every single time he finds PrettyPriMe alone, he just turns his attention, gets the rewind once again, baits Hungry for More to have to peel for their backline carry, and then just repositions himself and just throws out a ton of damage, right?
Yep.
9, 4, and 10, right? Even though I'm not exactly sure where his damage was, but he was just getting off so much team-fighting damage all game.
His positioning, like, walks forward. If he looks overly committed, that's fine, because then he just rewinds all the way back again once they try and collapse on him. Lawbster, once again, 9, 4, and 10 in that game, as the replays just keep going. This is so
it's not going to stop, man. I mean, he just played everything so well. Even here, right, making sure not to get too close, turns his attention to Variety after he ults in, and he makes sure not to stack up with Funballer as well, so Variety can't hit a double blood.
So, game 2, what are we looking for from Hungry for More this time around?
Synergy, right? Like, I think their team comp was fine for the most time. It's just like, when Zindurn goes in, he needs to be aware of not only where his team is, but also where Thor and where Cabrakan were, because he just kept getting isolated. And honestly, Guardians aren't as tanky as they were in Season 2. I mean, we're not in a tank meta anymore.
When it gets to a certain point, though, you should engage, and if you miss the engagement, fine, but you can still be a front line and bait the team to fight you, and if they waste abilities on you, your team can collapse. For me, it was Qvo that played it better.
I mean, the problem, though, was that he was just dying, and his team was too far back, right? His team wasn't in position, and maybe it's the rest of the team, right? Maybe they need to be pressed forward a little bit more. Maybe they were playing a little bit too scared.